Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about deadlift accessories. And I'm known for producing some pretty strong deadlifters. Uh, Something I'm pretty good at doing, getting people to 600 plus pound deadlifts. And here's a little bit of the staples I've done in my training. I'm not a massive believer in high specificity on the deadlift. I generally believe in using accessory work to build it. And I like the deadlift. I mean, even here I'm doing deficits for reps. I think that's an 8 rep set with 500 on a deficit. But really the deficit deadlift is an assistance movement. It really is. It's an assistance movement. And I just don't think that it's necessary for us to do large amounts of deadlifting to build a big deadlift. It doesn't mean I don't ever program speed work. I've done a fair amount of it. I program speed work for a lot of my lifters, but that's not really true deadlifting, is it? It's still coming back over to doing lightweight, oftentimes against bands, chains, things like that. A lot of times we're doing that on deficits, but not all of my big deadlifters do that either. Again, it comes down to what we're doing with the lifter, and here's the staples that I will say will build a deadlift. Do some sort of deadlift variation, right? I prefer things like deficit pulls. They're just easier on recovery. They force us to use a lighter weight. And I'll go so far as to say that you can do rep work on deficits as your primary training tool for the deadlift and still walk in and have a big max anytime you want to test it. Anytime you want to test it. But if you look at these different lifts I and some of my clients are doing here, here's different tools that I use to build the deadlift. For me personally, I find I get some of the best carryover from glute ham raises, reverse hypers, and rows. And all types of rows. It doesn't have to be just one type of row. I like the dumbbell rows here. Barbell rows, seal rows, all these things. They'll build a deadlift. They'll help. Anything that builds your posterior chain, anything that builds your back. Now, some of these different tools are better for fixing different weak links in the deadlift than others. For example, you'll see some of this. You'll see, like my lifter Michelle here later, doing some hip thrusts on a machine. You'll see her doing some band pull-throughs. All right, well, where do those help? They help you at the lockout. And again, I'm just talking about the conventional deadlift. I program sumo a little different. Really, I'd like to see a belt squat if someone wants to be a great sumo deadlifter, or at least a leg press slide with a really wide slide. I think that's a valuable tool. But so we're talking mostly about conventional. Okay, you struggle with the lockout. Things like hip thrust, band pull-throughs. Okay, those will help you with the lockout. They build the glutes, and they build the glutes into that contracted position a little bit, which is what can limit us at that lockout at the top on the deadlift, assuming you aren't pulling with a large amount of thoracic rounding. If you are, then you need to build your back. More good mornings, rows, I think especially barbell rows in that case. Okay. All right, those are things that are useful. You see her doing the hip thrust here. You're going to see later myself doing some rows. You're going to see Mikey doing some seal rows. You're going to see good mornings. You're going to see all these different tools. Okay, where do they come in handy for building? Well, different parts of the deadlift, because there's a lot of muscles involved. All right, people who struggle with bar position as they get just below the knee, that's where rowing helps. Anything that builds your lats, anything that builds your traps, anything that improves the grip, okay, it's going to help us there. It's going to help us there, any sort of rowing. All right, what about all the good mornings? What about the hamstring work? People who are missing mid-shin, right? If that's where you're slow or you're weak, get your hamstring stronger. Get your hamstring stronger. Okay? If you're weak immediately off the floor, get your quad stronger. Leg presses, squats, any type of squat, any sort of leg press. Okay? It's going to get you faster off the floor. Again, build hamstrings to get you up to the knee. If you're struggling with stability there, you need more rowing. Okay? If your lockout sucks, you need stronger glutes. But all these things are useful tools. And, and if you don't have a weak link, then train a little bit of all of it. You don't need to hyper focus then. I will go so far as to say, let's come back over to some of the things you saw me do early in the video. Okay. Glute ham raise, reverse hyperextension, rows, deficit deadlifts. That can build a monstrous deadlift. Just do your heavy rep work on a deficit. You don't need a lot of volume on it. A little bit goes a long way. By a little bit, I mean a couple of sets, 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets maybe. When I'm doing that, I do maybe 2 sets a week of real work sets. Right, that's about it. Right, you can do glute ham raises, reverse hypers, get strong at your rows. That'll get you well above a 500 for most guys eventually. Just get strong at those. A lot of these other tools, they're good for, again, specializing in your weak points. So look at all these different movements you see right there. And look at the follow through on that band pull through. Okay? This particular lifter, that's where she's weakest. I'm making her train it. Making her train it. Get that lock, that powerful lock at the end. Again, that's glutes. Your glutes are having to contract hard to push the hips to the bar once you get it above the knee. Okay? The people who have to hitch to lock a deadlift, which in powerlifting is not allowed. It's allowed in strongman. Powerlifting, it's not allowed. It's weak glutes. It's weak glutes. And here you see Mikey doing some heavy good mornings, doing those with a kabuki bar, kabuki transformer bar, using it as a safety squat bar type position. All right. That'll build your whole deadlift, really. It really helps a lot because of, again, the moment arm's involved. If you stick below the knee, it'll really help you through there, especially if you stick down near the shin. But it'll build your whole deadlift up. Builds glutes, hamstrings, erectors, adductors. Phenomenal exercise. Phenomenal exercise for increasing your deadlift. The thing is, you just need to get big. You need the entire posterior side of your body big. Everything from your calf up to your traps. If you get that entire area thick and you do enough, just a little bit of technique work of some type, it can be speed work, it can be deficit pulls, okay? You're gonna have a strong deadlift, even if you don't do very much deadlifting, right? Right there, really want to build lats and traps. Seal rows help stabilize the bar path. Right? This is how you build a big deadlift, my opinion. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.